Hi, George here, and today I'll be showing you how to make a mask using the pen tool here inside of Affinity Photo. I'll be showing this both in Affinity Photo, and I'll also show you where you can find the tools in Affinity by Canva if you have upgraded to that. It's the same technique aside from just where the tools are or how the tools look. Now you may be asking yourself, why not just use the select subject? Let me show you why. First off, what I want to do here is select just the coffee cup in here and this cinnamon stick right there and not select that dish down below. Okay, let's go over here. I'll grab the object selection tool and we're now selecting the background. Notice that I can't do the background and also grab this plate at the same time or the saucer. It's one or the other, so I can't do that. Let's say I wanted to come in here and grab the coffee cup. It's kind of hard to get a good spot that gets the whole cup. There we go. And when I get this, notice that it doesn't get the complete handle and it misses that cinnamon stick and a bit of the cinnamon on top. So if I come in here and try to grab that, I can do the cinnamon stick pretty well. I can do the handle pretty well, but it doesn't get all of the cup. It also misses this rim right down here. This doesn't get selected no matter what I do, unless I do it this way. So I could come in and try to do several selections with this and try to build it using several selections. But even there, the edges aren't really nice and smooth. So the object selection tool is just not going to give me a good result. Notice in this one, how it's kind of jagged around the edges on that. It's not giving me a good clean result. And the handle looks just absolutely awful. It's not getting the good handle. So there are times when object select is just not going to work for you. So instead we use the pen tool. And the reason why I'm using the pen tool is mostly because of these big curves that we have in here. Whenever you have large curves, that's a perfect time for the pen tool because a pen tool can make real nice large curves. Normally when making a selection, I'll just go for the polygonal lasso tool. It's usually real easy to use that, but to do these big curves, I'd have to be putting in a lot of real small points in here. Very time consuming and not as clean because of course I'm just putting in little short straight lines instead of doing nice curves. So the pen tool is the way to go on this one. It's over here, left hand side, right down here, looks like a pen. Click and hold. You see here we have the pen tool and the node tool. The node tool allows you to manipulate the nodes that you've placed with the pen tool. And before I go any further, let me show you where this same tool is over in Affinity by Canva. Okay, here we are inside of Affinity by Canva. Same problems with making the object selection. The icon for that looks different, but it's the same tool, works the same way. The pen tool is right down here. Click and hold, and there's a pen tool and the node tool. So same location basically, looks different, but same location. Now the main difference here is that when you're inside of Affinity by Canva, it's basically three programs in the one interface: Vector, Pixel, and Layout. Pixel is the same thing as Affinity Photo. Aside from that, it's pretty much the same. Okay, if anything else is different in the programs, I'll switch back over here and show you what those differences are, but pretty much it runs exactly the same way. Okay, switch back over to Affinity Photo, which is right here. And if you're still working with Affinity Photo and you're learning this program, it's a great program, but there's a lot to this, and it's kind of hard to find everything on YouTube. So if you want a really good learning tool for this program, I have a complete training course for that. And it's for Affinity Photo 2.6 and earlier. And it covers everything, all your tools, all your menus, all your panels, the whole deal. And I'll put a link for that at the top of the description. Okay, so now go over here to the pen tool. There we go. Very quickly, the way the pen tool works, I'm going to just bring in a new image here. Let's just make a clean image. I'll do File, New. I'll leave it at the default size, whatever that happens to be, that's fine. There we go. Back to the pen tool. My stroke up here at the top is at black, that's fine. And let's give this just a basic width. I'll give it a width of 1 point. And then to use this tool, you click like this and it will create points and then connect those points with lines. That's exactly the same way that the polygonal lasso tool works. Where the pen tool is different is if I click and drag, it gives me a curve. Go over here, do it a second time, click and drag, and there's a real nice curve. Now you have these control handles out here. Let's do another one here, click and drag, there we go. And to work with these control handles, just go over here, change to the node tool. I can then grab a handle, and that allows me to adjust the curve in here. I can rotate it around. I can make it larger or smaller. I can move the point around like that. So it's very easy to manipulate this after you have it in place. And that's the real power of the pen tool. If I had made something using the polygonal lasso tool, once I put that down, I'd be stuck with that. But with the pen tool, I can come in here and modify this after the fact. Even if I'm using straight lines like this, straight line segments, with the node tool, I can come back in and I can adjust these after I have it drawn. So it's much more powerful, much more accurate than working with the polygonal lasso tool. Okay, let's just get rid of this. Not going to save that. All right, so here we are. We're still on the pen tool. And ideally, if you have an ellipse like this, all you need are 4 points. One over here, and one at either one of these sides. You can then create that ellipse fairly easily. In this case, we don't have that. We have an ellipse up here at the top, and then it's almost a straight line here and here, but not quite. There's a slight curve here. It's a faster curve down here, and then a point, and then another curve down here, and then some straight in here. So there's a lot of different kinds of line segments. So I like starting off with a straight point, like right down here where the bottom of the cup comes in, right there. I'll put a point right here. I'll take this curve here. I'll put a point right about in the middle. I'm going to click on that point and drag. Just kind of pull that around like that. That gives me a curve at that point. Let's go right up to here, and I'll click and drag right there. Puts in the curve again. Now, if you want to, you can divide this long one here either up here or into two. It depends on your curve. If your curve is not exactly perfect, then I recommend just putting in a second one like this, and then over here someplace, just kind of dividing that long curve into a couple of curves. It gives you more options in there. We can add and subtract curves if we want to later on. Put one right down here, and let's come down here, and right here is a point. Now, I'm not going to pull on that because I want that to be a corner. So I'll come out a little ways. If I put one right here, I need to have a curve in there. So let's just Control Z, undo that. I'll come right into the middle like this. I'll click and pull right here. Then I'll just click right there. Notice that if it's a curve, it's round. If it's a point, it's square. Now right here, it's square up here, but it's curved out here. So I'll do the same thing. I'll click right here, gives me a point. Come into the middle of the curve. I'll pull here, gives me a curve. Come down here, click on that, gives me a point. And then finish off that straight line right here. Then come out a little ways. Click and pull, there's a curve. Come down a little ways like this, click and pull. It's another curve. And then down here, that should be a point. I'll just click straight down here. Same idea. There's a point. Come halfway through our curve here, click and pull. And then a point. And then right here should be a point. I'm doing a point here and a point here because that's a straight line. I'll come halfway through the curve, click and pull right here. Notice how sometimes the curve comes in kind of looped like that. You just spin that around and then come back and click on your beginning spot. And that finishes off that curve. Now I have some open areas in here. I need to remove these open areas. So in this case, I'll have to cut those out. Just make a selection right in here, make a path right in here, make another path over here. So start with this one, just put a spot here. There's just a little bit of a notch right there. Put that in over to here. Then I have a curve coming around. Now it's kind of a curve here, a little curve here, a little curve there. So it's got some little curves in here. So I'll come into the middle of this curve, and I'll pull that out like that. Come down here, put a little curve right here, and then come around back over to our finishing position. That gives me that shape. Make another one over in here. Come around my curve a little bit, pull this out. Come around a little bit, pull this out. Come right down here, and then back to the beginning. Okay, so I have several shapes in here, several curves as you can see up there. And I can then use these to cut holes in this initial shape. Okay, let's now go in and refine these. So for that, I'm going to grab the node tool. And let's zoom in a bit. It's too far out right up in here. So let's just take this one. I'll move this node out a little bit. And let's pull this in. Now notice when I pull on a node like this side comes in, that side comes out. Sometimes you don't want that. So if you hold the Alt key down, you can adjust those independently. And that's what I want here. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, let's go up here. We're a bit off right here. Again, I'll hold the Alt key down, let's fold this one in by itself, and let's reposition this. Looks like if it's over here somewhere, it's better. We'll rotate these around a little bit. So try to find just the right spot for that. Let's go ahead, we'll stretch this out, and that's looking pretty good right there. Okay, there we go. Nice path around this whole cup in here. Not that many points, except right down here we had to do a little bit of tweaking to get around that real small curve in here. Okay, that curve is done, this curve is done, and our outer curve is done. Okay, now come down to our main curve here. This is the coffee cup outer curve, like that. And we need to put a fill in here. So let's just fill this with black. I'll just choose my color here to black. There we go. Or go up here where it says fill and choose a black from up here. Either way, that's fine. Then right-click on this layer and choose Mask to Below, and that creates it as a mask. There we go. Easy enough. Let's now go up here to the curve for this little bit here. Hold the Control key down and choose your other curve down below. and then go up to Layer, come all the way down here to Geometry and go to Subtract. That removes that bit. And then let's go up to this curve, hold the Control key down, click on our Layer Mask curves down here. Same thing, go up to Layer, come all the way down to Geometry and Subtract. And there we go. There's our nicely masked layer. And everything is still curves, which means I can still go back in and edit this if I need to. Okay, let's go over and take a look at just where you'll find the layer stuff in here, layer and geometry over inside of Affinity for Canva. Everything over here, right-hand side, all these drop-down menus, all this stuff stays the same in both programs. Okay, here we are in Affinity by Canva. Again, everything we did over here in the layers panel stays the same. Only difference at this point is where you'll find that geometry option. In this case, go up here to the menu, click on Vector, and you find geometry right here, and there is the subtract option right there. Aside from that, it's exactly the same. And again, if you want to learn more about how to use Affinity Photo, take a look at my complete training course. The link is at the top of the description. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future, and I'll see you next time.